In the latest twist of The Young and the Restless, tensions reached a boiling point when Jack Abbott, furious and bewildered, discovered Diane Jenkins in the one place he least expected, Victor Newman's mansion. This revelation came as a devastating blow to Jack, as the sight of Diane sitting in Victor's living room immediately ignited suspicions. What were they discussing? And more importantly, why had Diane betrayed him in such a way, by aligning herself with his sworn enemy? Jack had always trusted Diane to some degree, despite their rocky past. However, the sight of her in Victor's orbit planted seeds of doubt. Was she truly capable of betraying him again? Given the circumstances, the possibility was all too real. Diane had recently been fired from Jabot, the company that was not only Jack's family business but also her long-standing connection to the Abbott family. With her ties to Jabot severed, Diane was no longer bound by loyalty to Jack or the Abbott name. She was now free to criticize anyone, including Jack, and form alliances that served her own interests. In her current state, she had nothing to lose. Victor Newman, on the other hand, had always been a master strategist, known for his ability to manipulate situations and people to his advantage. His rivalry with Jack had spanned decades, and their feud was bitter and unrelenting. Over the years, they had clashed countless times over business, family, and power. Jack knew better than anyone how dangerous it could be to underestimate Victor. And now, seeing Diane sitting across from Victor, discussing matters he wasn't privy to, Jack's mind was racing. What was Victor offering her? And what could Diane want in return? For Diane, the situation had shifted dramatically since her dismissal from Jabot. Once a vital part of the company's operations and Jack's life, she now found herself on the outside looking in. Stripped of her role, she no longer had any obligations to the Abbott family or its legacy. But she also found herself in a precarious position, without a clear path forward. That's where Victor came in. Victor, ever the opportunist, saw Diane's vulnerability as a chance to gain leverage. He presented her with offers that seemed to align perfectly with what Diane desired: power, stability, and a chance to rebuild her life. These were things Jack could no longer offer her. Diane, pragmatic as always, saw the potential in this arrangement with Victor. She didn't need to be loyal to Jack anymore. Victor, on the other hand, seemed to be giving her exactly what she wanted. Their conversation had a transactional quality to it, a careful negotiation between two people who were both deeply suspicious of each other. However, Victor's suspicion of Diane ran deep. Even as he laid out his proposals, he couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. Jack and Diane's sudden fallout, followed by this encounter, seemed almost too convenient. Victor had always been the sharpest player in the room, and he knew better than to take anything at face value. Was Diane genuinely interested in his offer, or was this all part of an elaborate ruse? Victor suspected that Jack and Diane might still be working together, pretending to be at odds as part of a larger scheme to ensnare him in a trap. Victor's mistrust of Jack was rooted in years of rivalry, and he had every reason to be wary of such a ploy. Jack had always been a formidable adversary, and the idea of Jack faking animosity with Diane to gain an upper hand was not beyond the realm of possibility. If Jack and Diane were indeed still working together, they could be setting Victor up for a fall, a betrayal designed to exploit his trust and ultimately bring about his downfall. But even if this were true, Victor knew he could turn the tables. He had faced down Jack Abbott countless times, and he always managed to stay one step ahead. Meanwhile, Diane's motives remained ambiguous. Though she was seemingly aligning herself with Victor, a part of Jack feared she could be playing both sides. After all, Diane had warned Jack of a bleak future, predicting that Jabot could face financial ruin if he didn't act cautiously. Her warning sounded ominous, yet there was an unmistakable undertone of personal vendetta. Diane had been cast aside from the company, and her exit left her with no reason to protect Jack or his legacy. If Jabot were to collapse, Diane wouldn't suffer the consequences. But Jack would. Jack knew Diane had always been a survivor, someone who could turn on anyone if it meant securing her own interests. The thought of Diane betraying him to Victor was both infuriating and terrifying. Could he have been so blind to her true intentions? Was this the beginning of his own destruction, orchestrated by the very woman he once believed had reformed? Or was Diane simply trying to warn him, hoping he'd listen before it was too late?